Colonial New Hampshire was not unlike the Old West. Colonial Massachusetts, by comparison, was settled in lawful. Massachusetts was settled by Puritans. Puritans came here to pray and be pure. That's where the name comes from. Contrast that with a bunch of rowdies that settled here in New Hampshire. Portsmouth was controlled by members of the Church of England, and the place turned into a bunch of snobs. President John Adams called Portsmouth that little world, meaning money, frivolity, and ostentation. But Dover was founded by people who were sympathetic to the Puritans, or Puritans themselves. William Hilton, one of the founders of the town, arrived with the Pilgrims at Plymouth. His brother Edward supported the Puritan cause. Later, the powers that be over in England appointed a guy named Thomas Wigan to become New Hampshire's first governor, and he moved to town. And about that time, Edward Hilton sold his patent, sold it to friends of the Puritans in England. And the sale was accomplished by Mr. Wigan, so he had his fingers in everything. Many in the region did not side with the Puritans, however. They were either Church of England people or those rough and tumble people who had no formal religion. In 1633, a Puritan minister arrived. He was going to be the spiritual head of the town, Reverend William Leveridge. He was pure and devout, that is, and he was dull as dishwater. And although the Puritan element was strong, there were more people against them than for them. And enter the Reverend George Burdett. Now, he's well noted. He was an exciting speaker, definitely not a Puritan. His coming split the religious community right down the middle. Governor Wigan campaigned against him, but to no avail. However, later it was found out that Reverend Burdett was a spy for the Puritan-hating Archbishop of Canterbury. And not only did Reverend Burdett take over the church, he also deposed Thomas Wigan as governor, and he took over the title. He was Governor Burdett. Lasted 1 year. And then the government down in Massachusetts sent a guy up to depose him, a guy named John Underhill. And thus ended the reign of Reverend George Burdett. And a lot of people said, Amen.